Hey, welcome back to like part 2 or the second half of the one episode. I don't know what this is going to be. But we got more stuff that were vampires.
Yep.
And me about to sneeze. Hold on. That is the worst intro. 2 seconds before I have to sneeze. Wow.
Wonderful timing.
Oh, impeccable. You push away and walk to the back of the building, finding the fire stairs and hopping down onto them. A moment later, you're in the back alleyway, then at your car. You slip into it and catch yourself in the rear view vision mirror. There's a few streaks of blood on your cheek. The bottom of your eyes are red and puffy. God damn it, you say. You find a scrunched up tissue in your glove box and wipe your face down. That helps, but not that much. You readjust your rear vision mirror and start the car. Time for the next on your increasingly never-ending stops. Take stock of where to go next. You guess that you'll have to go back home before sunrise, too. Black out the windows or something. And you figure, hope beyond hope, that Dan didn't call the cops on you. The idea of going back home to find the cops keeping Mon company waiting for you. You don't really have much of the way of a choice left, you realize. Perhaps this Julienne guy will know where to find Caleb or even how to contact Paige directly. There's really just one choice. Julienne. You need to meet this Julienne guy. The drive from Echo Park to Echo Park from West Hollywood is very straight.
Unlike us.
Unlike us. Got him. But at least you figure it's hard to get lost going this way. You only wish the radio stations were playing more things that you were actually into at this time of night. Oh, go ahead.
It's a cold night in L.A.
The night DJ says.
So, we want to know, when's New York going to take its weather back? We're Angelinos. We don't do cold. That's an East Coast thing.
You wonder if anyone has ever laughed at night DJ jokes. Once, and then they promoted the guy. You drive east on Sunset for nearly half an hour until Sunset finally begins to curve into Sunset Junction. Passing by that bar you remember getting caught out years ago for using your older sister's ID. Then you pass through Silver Lake and finally through the collection of stores on Sunset just north of Echo Lake itself. You slow down as you get to these stores, glancing around until you find a closed butcher store. Pull up a few doors down from it, staring in mild annoyance at the beckoning parking meter. The keys out, your car goes dark, and the sound of obnoxious DJ and his eclectic tracks replaced instead by the metallic tapping of the engine compartment cooling. Stepping out of your car and looking around the door, you glance around. All of the shops in the stretch next to the butchers are empty and dark, and the sound of some kind of Cher remix is being blasted at an absurd volume from the only lit windows above the shops. Shit, they were into Cher!
We should have picked Cher.
Should have picked Cher. This has got to be his place. The real question is, how do you find your way in? You potter about until you find a glass door wedged between the butchers and the shuttered laundrette. The door is unlocked and it leads up by stairs to a small landing. On the right side is a door marked Dentist, and on the left, Private, from which emanates the sound of a dance party, minus the dancers. Bang on the door. It takes 2 rounds of hefty banging on the door of any sort of response issues from within. Finally, the door opens a crack, a face peering out over the door chain. Says the guy. Or at least whatever he's saying sounds like a little more than over the did. Have you seen Paige? You say.
Huh?
He asks. You repeat it louder. The door shuts. You hear the chain being fiddled with on the other side, then the door comes open. The apartment is lit mostly by a dim light in the kitchenette and the light from a surprisingly large old TV playing MTV muted. Pizza boxes and empty beer bottles dominate the space. A man from the door beckons you to follow him. He begins swaying in his hips in time to the music as he heads back toward a small hallway.
A what?
Small way.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The guy is topless with floppy bangs and abs you could wash laundry on.
How many you want, honey?
He asks as he continues sashaying his way up to a flood-to-ceiling mirror at the end of the hall. Take a position near enough to talk to him, standing by a bathroom door. The sounds of a shower in progress coming out from a mostly closed door.
How many what?
Oh no, is this Paige's hookup? Alright, asking him what he means is probably just getting... This is one of those moments where it's genuinely too late to ask.
Yeah.
You, Julian? You ask him, folding your arms. At least the music is a bit less oppressive down this end of the corridor.
Yeah, who are you?
He asks. You aren't sure why, but the fact that he let you in without even asking who you were fits perfectly with what you know of this guy already. Paige's friend, you say. He glances at you again.
Paige's friend? You swing that way, eh?
That's my business, you say. Would you care if I was? He laughs.
Oh, hell no. No judgment over here, honey. Hell, I swing both ways.
He flops his hand down past his crotch and swings it side to side.
I'm a damn pendulum, baby.
He says, laughing at his own joke. He then goes back to combing various kinds of substance through his hair.
Hey, Julian.
Calls a feminine voice from the bathroom.
You got any body wash?
Strawberry.
Oh, strawberries near the shampoo. Vanilla is in the medicine cabinet.
Julian calls out.
So, what can I do for you, baby?
He says. Tell him that you're looking for Paige.
Oh, really?
He asks, turning his head this way and that as he looks at his haircut. Yeah, and I heard that you go clubbing with her quite a bit. He snorts.
Well, I mean, you could call it that.
What do you mean? You ask.
We work the same clubs.
He says.
A lot of the time, anyways.
And you've got no idea where she's going to be tonight. He shrugs.
I might.
What about where she's staying? You ask.
Since breaking it off with Taj.
He says. Yeah, you say, getting more than a little frustrated with him. Then abruptly the bathroom door opens. You aren't sure just when the shower stopped. A naked brunette stands at the doorway. Let's just not make a deal. Let's just not make a big deal out of it. You sure you can't remember anything about where she might be? You ask. He shrugs.
My memory's a little hazy. Hey, Jules, where are your clean towels?
She asks the topless drug dealer.
On the rack there.
He says.
Oh, they're clean?
She says.
Thanks.
She then heads back into the bathroom and begins toweling herself down, the door remaining open. Julian then turns to face you.
You sure you don't want a hit of X?
They don't want to get high tonight, you say clearly and carefully.
I didn't say you did.
He says.
I just suggested that my memory might improve if you were a customer instead of yet another chick hanging out in my apartment.
Ah, shit. That is a good point, actually. We are asking something of the time from a dude running a business here. That is actually perfectly reasonable of you to ask, sir. Sorry, my dude, you say. I don't have the money, bribe or not. He then turns to face you, a smile creeping onto his face just as the music changes over to Madonna.
You could do something else for me.
You sigh and ask what? What? You ask.
Head.
He says. I'm sorry, but what? You exclaim.
Head.
He says, shrugging.
If you're really a friend of Paige's, you gotta be pretty good with your tongue.
You fold your arms. Did you realize that someone who can eat pussy isn't necessarily just like magically good at sucking cock as well? You say. Julian laughs.
Oh, heavens no. Not me, her.
He gestures to the naked girl toweling herself down in the bathroom.
I can hear you.
She calls out.
You eat her out.
He says, gesturing toward the bathroom.
And I watch. Oh, heavens no. I didn't mean to imply anything creepy.
You know what? How could I have so poorly misjudged you, good sir?
I only meant to imply that you should eat out my friend while I watch. A completely normal thing to ask.
Who do you take me for? I'm not.
Let's not do that.
All right. I am not gonna fuck a girl I just met, and I'm certainly not in front of a guy, you say. He sighs.
Suit yourself. Oh my god, Julian.
The girl calls out.
I am not into girls. How many times do I have to tell you I am not enacting your fantasy? I'm just trying to help you, honey.
Julian shakes his head, then turns to you.
Poor Cynthia here. Her boyfriend won't go down on her. Jesus fucking Christ, Jules.
She says, putting on her clothes. You know what? Let's just ignore this guy. Hey, Cynthia, you ask.
Yeah?
She replies, fidgeting with her bra. Don't suppose you happen to know a Paige?
Yeah?
She says. Really? You ask.
Sure.
She replies. Do you happen to know where I can find her? You ask.
Oh, come on.
Julian says.
Don't ruin my fun, Sin.
Cynthia, now fully clothed, steps out of the bathroom.
Actually, I do.
She says.
She's been staying in Santa Monica. If you're heading that way anyway, Give me a lift and I'll tell you where.
You know what? Let's not even ask if that's where she is. Let's just agree that. Sure thing, you say.
Excellent.
She beams. Oh, yeah, just from...
If you can...
Help me find... Yeah, well, yeah, if you can help me find Paige, sure, you say.
Excellent.
She beams.
I'm actually going to Westwood, but honestly, if you can just drop me anywhere vaguely near that side of the city, I can figure out the rest myself. Come on.
She says, grabbing her hand and heading for the door.
Bye, Julian.
She calls out, "Bye, Julian." You repeat.
See you next week.
Cynthia calls out and Julian sighs.
Lovely to meet you.
He calls after you, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Follows it. All right. That entire interaction was just something, man.
We broke in there once.
She says, pointing to the dentist's office as you pass it on your way down to the street.
Got high off his nitrous.
Are you two a thing? You ask.
Nah,
She says.
just friends. We tried to fuck once, but we were both super high and he couldn't get it up.
A moment later, you're on the street. This way, you say, pointing to your car. You hop into the driver's side and reach over to unlock her door. A moment later, Cynthia, sitting in the passenger side, glancing around the interior of your wheeled ship box, seemingly more out of curiosity than judgment. Which, fair. She turned the key, the radio comes to life alongside the engine. A song is just finishing.
And you're still turned to KQYY with me, Humble Harry. With that track and our station check out of our way, it's time to admit to ourselves that we are wasting time. Yes, that's right, Wasting Time, the new single from newcomer at MCA, Blink 182.
The new song kicks in and Cynthia blanches. You don't like Blink 182? You ask. She shakes her head.
I don't even know who they are. I mostly listen to techno, but that goddamn asshole. Humble Harry is my second cousin. He's like 20 years older than me and a total prick. Hit on my best friend once at a family thing.
Should we change just... I think this is a vent moment where
Yeah.
we're allowed to agree with them that...
Yeah.
He certainly does seem to be a bag of dicks, you admit, turning the car around and beginning to head west. Cynthia laughs.
I like that. Bag of dicks. I'm gonna call him that next time he turns up already drunk to a family thing.
So, Westwood? You ask. I was just at Westwood. Where were you headed exactly?
You know where the dog park is?
She asks. I don't think so, you say.
Just near the big cemetery.
She says,
Anyway, I'm headed round there. My friend's got a penthouse apartment on Wilshire, just near there.
I was out that way earlier tonight, you say.
Yeah, what for?
She asks. Same reason I met you, trying to track down Paige, you say. Went to this indie film set, director was an absolute piece of work. Lead actress walked off when I left, though. That was fun.
Wait, was that Sandra's film?
No, you say. Some guy, Brad.
Yeah, that's it. Girl I know, Sandra, is producing it. She's doing film at UCLA.
Oh, that's right. I think I heard her name called out. Sandy?
That's her.
This town's entirely too small, you say, shaking your head.
Wait, so the lead actress walked off? Did you do that? I don't think we did.
I mean, not really, you say. I was there, but it sounds like she was already pretty pissed at the dude before I turned. Straw that broke the camel's back or whatever.
What did he say?
Cynthia asks. You sigh. Just some homophobic shit,
Ah.
she says. There's an awkward pause, and Cynthia decides to make it even more awkward.
So, what's it like being a lesbian?
Oh, wow, you blurt out. We're just going there, huh? You know what?
Yeah.
You know what?
let's answer.
Sure. Well, you say, trailing off as you figure out just what to say. I mean, what's it like to be straight?
What do you mean?
Cynthia asks. I mean, like, I don't know what it's like to be straight, you say, so I can't easily tell you how being gay is different.
Oh.
She asks. Cynthia sits there a moment in silence. She's still our connection to finding finding Paige right now. So, don't feel bad, you say, then realize just how pointless that is to say. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just not trying to make this feel more awkward.
I just...
she says, and then trails off.
Like, I just can't imagine what it's like, you know?
You sigh. Just ask, you say. Do you want to know what it's like fucking another woman? What it's like having fuckheads hurling abuse at you? What?
All of it.
She says.
But also, like, how did you know?
Okay, you say. You have a feeling you know what she's asking. Fuck it. If you're going into this shit, you should at least get a cigarette. Tonight is just not the night for quitting. Can you grab a cig for me from my bag there and light it for me? You ask.
Oh, sure.
She says, doing so. She then hands you the lit cigarette and you jam it in your mouth. Feel free to steal one if you want, you say.
Oh, no thanks.
Cynthia says.
Don't smoke when I'm sober.
Suit yourself, you say, and inhale deeply. Damn, the cigarette really has no flavor. Was smoking always this bad? Well, fuck it, at least gives you something to focus on. I guess I always knew I liked girls, but I mean, you just presume everyone else feels like you do about things, right? Especially when you're young.
What do you mean?
She asks. I mean, like, I just thought all girls wanted to kiss other girls, you say. Like it was just a thing unrelated to who you did or didn't want to marry or whatever.
Oh.
She says. The silence is very telling. She really is listening to you. I guess at a certain point, it just happened, you know? I was just making out with the girl I was friends with. Then I got more serious and it was just like... I realized it was actually very good. Like it wasn't until I hooked up with a woman that I realized how absolutely not into men I was. I just presumed sex wasn't really exciting, you know? You say. I let guys I was dating fuck me and just figured all women must hate it like I did and just let their boyfriends fuck them anyway.
You've slept with men?
She asks, wide-eyed. Of course, you say. I think I was like 15 when I lost my virginity to some guy. It was so boring and uncomfortable.
What's it like?
She asks you. I don't know, you say. Lovely, fun, hot, comfortable. I mean, mostly it doesn't have to be. You can still have terrible sex. It's not just men capable of that. Cynthia laughs. Getting abused to who you are, you say, and then find yourself just stopping. Take a long drag of your cigarette as you pull up to a red light. What can I say? It sucks. Think of all the catcalling and shit and then just add more of it. Think about it sometimes when it hasn't even happened to you in ages, you say. Cynthia says nothing. After a moment, you continue. Sometimes you're like walking down the shops with your girl and you're so happy and you lean in to kiss her, then your brain just immediately goes on alert. You get nervous. They don't even need to do it all the time before you start thinking about it entirely on your own. It's fucked. And you continue. Then there's someone you care about. So I lived with my best friend since I was 17 instead of, You trail off, feeling that maybe you might have gotten just a bit too personal. You both ride in silence for a moment.
Thanks.
Cynthia finally says.
Thanks for sharing that.
You shrug. It's fine. For a while, you ride in silence, kept company by Humble Harry and his bizarrely varied choice of late-night music. So, you say, feeling the dead air hanging between you, you and Julianne aren't like a thing? She shakes her head.
No, I got a rule. I don't fuck my dealer, even just for fun. You do it once and shit gets weird. He might expect something in future.
You know what? Exactly. Can't fault you for that, you say.
Honestly,
she says, looking thoughtful.
It's actually kind of annoying.
You wanna fuck him? You ask.
Not generally, but sometimes.
You nod.
Especially when all I'm getting right now is Ray.
Ray? You ask.
Fuckboy, the one with the 2 apartments.
Oh, right, you say. The pieces are coming together. See that bad in bed? You ask.
Yeah,
she says, shaking her head.
And the worst part is, he's not just some gross dude who ruts on you for 5 minutes then leaves you to wipe the sweat off. He's trying.
Oh, ouch, you say. Do you, give him directions? Tell him what you like?
Directions?
She asks.
I mean, I tell him what I like, but I'm not going into that much detail. Damn, what am I supposed to do? Wave him in with flags like I'm starting a drag race?
She mimes the motion of waving with flags. You laugh again.
Hey,
She then says, her tone shifting.
Sorry to be a bother, but...
What's up, you ask?
I really need to pee. Would you mind if we stopped at that Chevron?
She asks, gesturing at the upcoming chapel to gasoline and sugary drinks. Sure thing, you say, pulling the car into one of the parking spots. Cynthia wanders inside. You slump against your car, wondering if you should go use the ATM inside to get a little extra cash out. Or maybe fill the tank a bit more? You didn't want to delve into your paltry savings account this week, but figure puking up your own teeth and catching the worst STD in history kind of made it a weird week already. But no, you should have enough in the tank. You hope. Not so much that you desperately wanted another cigarette, or that you were confused by just how bad your favorite brand suddenly tastes. You light up another one and cough up, and you light another one up and watch the cars going by. You cough slightly. Nope, still tastes rancid. You sigh and stamp it out, hoping nobody saw you doing it this close to the pumps. Then suddenly, yet another wave of nausea hits you and the floor begins tilting. Let's catch ourselves. You grab at your car, missing the side and almost bending your radio antenna in the process. Shit, you stammer, slumping against the car. The world still spins. You settle yourself down on the ground, slumping against the side of your car. A few moments pass, as does the worst of it.
Are you okay?
Comes a voice. You look up to see Cynthia above you. You cough once or twice. Yeah, mostly.
Here.
She says, offering you a hand. You take it, easing yourself to your feet.
You still good to drive?
She asks.
I have my license if,
No, I'm good, you say, hoping that that's true. But thanks, I just need a moment to steady myself.
You have a big one last night?
She asks, once you're both sitting in the car. No, you say. Or not last night anyway. Party on Saturday night.
Holy shit.
She says.
That's a hell of a hangover.
You nod, rubbing your temples. That's why I need to find Paige. Cynthia's eyes open wide.
What, like...
How honest do we want to be with Cynthia here?
I don't know.
Let's keep it vague.
Okay.
She's got something of mine, you lie. And we never exchanged numbers, so I spent this whole damn night tracking her down.
Wow.
She says.
Well, I will definitely tell you where she's staying. Hopefully that helps.
Thank you, you say. You start the engine and pull out of the gas station and drive west. Yet another grunge track comes to a halt as Humble Harry once again makes his unpleasant voice infect the airwaves. What do you got against grunge?
And there's another hit from our friends up in the Pacific Northwest,
He says.
But like most things up there, it's just no good.
There's just the tiniest fraction of dead airwaves.
No good.
He says.
Start the dance.
The beats kick in and Cynthia exclaims.
Oh, hell yes. Thank you, Harry. You did something good for the first time in your pathetic life.
Soon she is bopping along to the Prodigy. You like this one? She nods.
Can never not dance to it.
I have trouble driving slow to it, you admit.
Well, fuck it. Go for it.
She says, swaying her head and dancing as much as she can while strapped into an old 1970s leather car seat.
Drive faster or
Be
be boring.
Fuck it, you say, and put your foot on the gas, shifting up pretty quickly as you need to. Cynthia winds down her window, letting the air rush in as the car picks up speed. Just then the lyrics to the music kick in and Cynthia begins to sing along.
You're no good for me. I don't need nobody. I don't know the tune to this song, so
I don't know
can't.
this song either. I was a grunge kid. You smile and she keeps going. You join in. Don't need no one, that's no good for me. I don't know what this song is. Soon you're both dancing and singing as much as you can while doing at least 10 over the speed limit down Wilshire, hours past midnight.
It's my breakup anthem.
Cynthia beams. I can see why, you smile. You spent the remaining part of the drive chasing down songs you can both dance or sing along to on various stations, eventually and begrudgingly ending up back up on Humble Harry. After another 10 minutes or so, you finally pull up to the address in Westwood where Cynthia's crappy fuckboy lives.
This is the place.
Cynthia says, then turns to you, smiling.
Thanks.
It was a good dance party. Thank you for making the trip less boring, you say.
So, Paige.
She says.
She's been staying with this other dude I often see at parties, Caleb.
Her face drops a bit as his name comes up. I get the feeling that that's not good news, you ask. She nods.
Well, I was real high and went back to his place once and, he tried to get fresh with me.
Shit, is all you managed to get out, wishing you had something more comforting or useful to contribute to this information.
He's a proper asshole, not kinda annoying asshole like Julian, an actual piece of work.
Her face is stone cold now, serious as a 5-car pileup. Are you all right? You ask. She nods.
I was pretty fucked up for a while, though. I mean, I got out of there, but kinda spooks you, you know?
You nod. I wonder what the hell Paige wants with him, you say to yourself as much as Cynthia.
I mean...
Cynthia says.
They're dealing together now, I think. Pissed Julian off, although he still tries to act cool about it. Paige used to deal a little bit, but now she and Caleb are like... They take most of the parties in the West, so Julian is usually out at shitty places like the weird gig in Los Feliz tonight, to avoid them.
Dealers on the floor at raves aren't exactly territorial in my experience, you say. Why is Julian avoiding Caleb and Paige specifically? She shakes her head.
Not Paige, just Caleb. Caleb freaks him out. He's a big dude.
Like Andre the Giant big? You ask.
No, I mean just pretty muscle-bound for a raver. Has these freaky tattoos, too. On his knuckles. He has more and pain on them in this fucked up biblical kind of text.
She says.
That's why Julian got defensive when you mentioned Paige. I think he just wishes Caleb would vanish.
You nod. So, where is his place?
Never gonna forget that,
Cynthia says.
Lives in this weird bungalow near Sunset Park, on Grant Street. A million garden gnomes out front and all this weird Catholic shit on the walls inside. I think the place was his grandma's or something and he inherited it.
You grab a pen and write down the address. She hops out of your car and you turn back to the addresses you have written down.
Oh.
She says, leaning down again and staring back into your car.
So if you ever want to hang out, let me know. I'm not hitting on you or anything, but you're cool.
You smile. You're not half bad yourself, Cynthia.
Call me Sin,
she says, smiling again. She then grabs a scrap of paper, scribbles on it, and hands it to you. You stare at her phone number, then back up at her as she wanders off into the night. As Cynthia vanishes, you sigh. It was, you decided, a rather pleasant interlude from a shitty night. Oh, gonna help out the maybe baby gay? Maybe baby gay. I like that. I didn't mean it for it to rhyme like that, but it definitely did. Caleb's house, gotta be. Even if he's not around, well, maybe you can find out more about what you're dealing with, or at least confirm that he is indeed with Paige at the warehouse thing. Once again, you slip into the annoyingly comforting sound of Humble Harry as you head southwest towards Santa Monica.
You know, I'm not going to lie.
Humble Harry says at the tail end of some banal pop song you don't remember. Banal? Have we had this conversation? What?
Oh, I thought you had already read the line, was reading the line.
Banal pop song that you don't remember.
My favorite thing about the night DJ gig, nobody's in the office but me, so I can use the women's bathrooms. And damn, they're clean. Not sure what voodoo you ladies have going on, but just know I appreciate it.
You roll your eyes. And
also, I use those bathrooms for other reasons. I sure hope no one's listening to this radio station at this time.
Oh no, asshole repressed trans from Humble Harry. Oh no, poor guy. I mean, he's still an asshole, but poor guy. You roll your eyes. Grant Street isn't one you know well. It's on your side of the 10, running perpendicular to it. You cross the freeway onto 17th Street, turning to avoid some kind of accident that's happened near Memorial Park. Soon enough, you're back away from the harsh lights of the late-night coffee shops, dotting the edge of the industrial area, and are back into suburbia. You're driving down what feels like endless small boulevards, the sides and islands in the middle dotted with poorly kept trees. And finally, you turn onto Grant Street. Well, you can't remember which order the street numbers go in on this street, so it takes you a minute to find roughly the right set of numbers. When you do find Caleb's place, you don't even need to see the numbers. Whoa, you say, seeing the absolute sea of creepy-looking garden gnomes. You slink past it and park a few doors down, away from any streetlights. Withdrawing your keys, you wander toward the front of his place, briefly creeped out by just how unsettling the garden gnomes truly are. All the inside lights are out, so that's good? Maybe? You're not sure if trying to track down Caleb and Paige at a warehouse club is better or worse than just finding them at home. You pause at his mailbox. Expect a letter. It's a utility bill addressed to Caleb Murtry. Yep, definitely the right place. There's no light you can see by the front door, so you decide to approach that way. You quietly open the front gate, grimacing as it lets out a slight unlubricated screech. You walk up to the front door, waiting for some motion sensor light to turn on or something. When that doesn't happen, you peer through the small glass slats at the top of the door. You have a momentary panic when you see it on the wall, by the door, a keypad for an alarm system. The moment of fear subsides, you recognize a flashing light on the front and a text on the display. It says, "Not armed." Apparently, Caleb left his alarm off. We kind of presumed a drug dealer wouldn't do that. Maybe he's home? Let's head around back. I don't feel comfortable just walking in someone's front door. Like, no matter, you know what I mean? It makes me feel weird. Realizing this was probably a foolish idea, you hop through a few of the garden gnomes back to the driveway beside the dark bungalow. You're around the side of the bungalow momentarily, stepping around a fresh oil slick in the driveway. Whatever is normally parked here is not in good condition, you decide. Even your multicolored shitbox doesn't leak oil like that. The back of the house has a badly maintained clothesline, a few weather-worn chairs, and a BBQ that looks like it's now more rust than metal. Walk up slowly to the clothesline and gently brush your fingers over it as you glance around the yard. How to get inside? To the back door, glancing inside briefly, then turning the handle. Locked. With not much else to do, you decide to look at the windows. Most of the windows look properly closed, but you finally find one with the top part open a crack. Unfortunately, it is pretty high up. As you're inspecting it, you notice something else. The windows on the other side of the bungalow, across from the other corner, are blacked out. Looks like spray paint, too. Someone has done a serious job stopping anyone from seeing in. Maybe they make drugs here? No. You doubt this guy makes anything himself, which means it could be. You think back to your instant sunburn. If it was that after a few days. Move one of the plastic outdoors chairs over to it, test it briefly for stability, then stand up on it. You pull down with both hands on top window pane, which slides down into place easily enough. You could climb over it, maybe. You just have to be careful not to put your hand or foot through it. That would be bad. Do you want to continue trying to get into this guy's place or just go to the warehouse thing?
Fuck it, let's try and get in.
You've come this far. No, just go for it. At worst, if you're found, you could tell the truth, or at least most of it. You know Paige, she let you in. She would stick up for you? You swallow. Hopefully you won't have to find out. Breathing in more to steel yourself than any practical use, you place your hands on either side of the window frames and pull yourself up. Far more easily than you expected, to be honest. Your feet are on the windowsill in no time, and you begin to climb over the window pane. Then when things seem to be going so well, you fall. Tumble and land on a bed before rolling with a loud thud to the floor. Ow, you mutter to yourself as quietly as you can manage. Staggering to your feet, you glance around the messy bedroom. It's lit just by moonlight, but so far that seems to be enough. On the wall are various pictures torn from Playboy magazine, or something like that. Airbrushed women with unreasonable proportions and slack-jawed submissive expressions. You glance around the room, seeing piles of clothes and a handful of fast food packages. By your feet is a torn condom wrapper. You grimace and walk out. If you had to bet, you'd bet on this being Caleb's room, even without having met him. It's a very strange house. The wallpaper is floral and fading. The walls are dotted with Catholic imagery, such as crosses and pictures of the Virgin Mary with her child. As you pace further through, you're surprised to discover just how quickly your eyes adapt to the darkness. By the time you reach the kitchen, you can easily spot the cat sitting on the countertop, staring at you. Hey, little one, you say, and stares back at you soundlessly. On the counter behind it sits something interesting. Kitchen scales. Not weird in and of itself, but something is off about the scales, or rather what is beside them. As you approach it, it suddenly makes sense. On several plates beside them are a number of pills with little logos on them. The cat runs away again. At least it didn't hiss. Beside and behind the scales are numerous boxes, bags, and plastic containers. Caleb's stash. Not that it's any good to you, just confirms what you already knew, that he was dealing. Time to look around the rest of the house for something, anything which might tell you where they are. Heading back to the front of the house, you think back to the blacked out windows. You need to see what's in there for sure. It's the second bedroom, you guess. On the opposite side of the hallway to the door, to what you presume is Caleb's bedroom, is another closed door. You walk up to it and pause, listening carefully. Still no sounds. Just the sound of the cat cleaning itself in another room. Wait, did you really just hear that? Where is that cat? Damn, that is one noisy cat. The door opens with a slight squeak, leading to a room that is darker than anything else in the house. So dark that you cannot see anything. You listen for a moment, hearing nothing. Not a lot of choice here, you decide. Ah, fuck, you bellow. Even steeling yourself for the light coming on didn't really help much. You cover your eyes with your hands for a few moments, slowly opening them to look around. In the corner of the furthest from the blacked out windows, a small single mattress, lumpy and misshapen, with an old duvet and a purple pillow crumpled up on it. On the floor are clothes, not entirely unlike in the other bedroom, but these are distinctly feminine. A few pairs of panties, bras, baby doll tees, and a leather jacket you remember well indeed. Walk up to it, running your fingers along it, and thinking back to your night with Paige. You're thinking back to feelings, memories, and even the music from that night when it hits you. Another wave of nausea, of hunger, of need. You double over, tilting slightly so you land on the bed rather than the thin, stuffed carpet. You feel yourself coughing. You stagger to your feet, trying mentally to process where the bathroom would be, but your head is swimming before you're even standing upright. You find yourself collapsed next to the mattress, retching even worse than you did back at home the previous night. You cough and you keep coughing. You're desperately hungry, yet there's no sensation in your stomach, no rumbling, no churning. Your mind flashes you images of Dan, the clinic nurse, bleeding, the scent of his blood on your finger, the taste. You could taste it before you even got to your mouth. You're still coughing and you can't stop. In total exasperation and exhaustion, you begin to bang your fists on the ground. You try to tell your own body off, but you can barely get a single syllable out. And finally, after what feels like an eternity, it stops. You loll backwards on the mattress and stare at the ceiling. Fuck, you finally say, the cursing giving you just a glimmer of control back. You heave yourself up and your left hand hits something, furry, small, synthetic. You grab it as you sit upright. It's a small plush bear. It's a light brown, lightly discolored, and missing an eye. It's posed permanently in a hug. There's a tag around its neck on a collar which reads Mr. Fluffy. Grab the tag gently and look it over. It's inscribed on the metal tag. You can guess it came with the bear, given it's a cheap tin, but turning it around, you see something different. In rough, childlike handwriting and magic marker are the words, "and Paige." Your heart sinks and your mind floods with questions. Was it always with her, or did Paige go back to get this? Your own words to Natasha came back to you. I'm so scared. Was she that scared? How alone did she feel despite living with her girlfriend? Was it an act of desperation, or was it nothing? People keep childhood things all the time. Perhaps it was in her car if she had a car, or her bag. You slump back down, replacing the teddy bear carefully. You've been through every feeling you could imagine since you started looking for Paige. Anger, hurt, betrayal even. But this bear made you realize something. You don't know her. Not one bit. She was performing to you, at you even, to get your attention at that party. You never met the girl with the teddy bear. Not really. You pause, thinking at 1,000,000 miles an hour. You were never sure what you'd do when you found her again. Ask questions, yell at her, slap her. Even thinking back to how good that night felt. Kiss her? Now, at least for the moment, you simply want to ask if she's okay. If she's okay, maybe you can be too. It's time to find her. Unfortunately, footsteps. Something being moved. Someone using keys. You leap to your feet, every sense tingling. As you stand there glancing around the empty room, you notice something glimmering in what little light the room has. You look down on it. It's a flick knife. Limited time. What do?
We're probably pretty fast. I feel like getting back out the way we came in seems quite doable.
You head straight back into the hallway as fast as you can manage, glancing briefly at the deadlock on the back door before ducking back into the bedroom. No time to play with that many locks and latches. You glance up above the bed, seeing a window just big enough for you to get out. You can get it open. It's just a crack open. Then you hear a key in the door turning. Shit. You hear a masculine voice call out.
Yo, Caleb, you there, bro?
Yeah?
Caleb?
Calls the voice again.
Someone back there?
You pace slowly up to the window, standing on the springy bed and grimacing as it lets out a squeak from the bed frame that's just entirely too loud for your liking.
Oh, well.
Comes the voice that heads into the kitchen.
Tu casa es mi casa, bro.
You grit your teeth. Each step takes you forever. Each squeak from the bed frame is an alarm bell. The other room, you hear the guy begin to quietly sing a Michael Jackson song to himself. Bracing yourself against the window, you slip one leg out over the window, finding purchase on the outside windowsill. Turning to your side, you contort yourself using muscles that haven't seen you since you briefly did gymnastics in 8th grade. Finally, entirely out of the window, you begin to shift your last leg and fail entirely. Your body slides, banging the inside of your thigh against the top of the window incredibly hard. Grimace as you twist and fall out of the window. Tumble out of the window, somehow one of your arms manages to slam hard enough against the glass that shatters with uncomfortable majesty. On the ground by the time you fully process what just happened. Your arm is screaming in pain.
Hey, who's out there?
Calls it the same voice from the kitchen. You hear the sound of someone clearly trying to open the black door's deadbolt. Get to your feet as quickly as you're able, holding your wounded arm up in the other hand and making for the side of the house as quickly as you can. You hear the door opens as you just pass it.
Hey, who the hell are you?
The guy asks as you reach the running pace by the side of the house. Hop the fence. Grab the fence with your good arm and swing yourself past it. Your foot catches and you find your entire body getting cement pavement with gusto. Oh, Christ, you mutter, staggering to your feet. Pick up the pace again as you head towards your car. By the time you get to your car, you can't help but notice the pain in your arm is largely stopped, replaced by an intense, uncomfortable itching. You fidget for a moment, finding your keys, then start the car. The lights in the engine now on, you move the car into first and head off down the street. Look around the block and park before slumping back in your seat, sighing deeply. Well, that's just bloody spectacular, that is. Catwoman, you are not. Turn on the overhead light and look down at your arm. To your surprise, the wound is, well, not healed by any stretch, but cleaner? Shallower at any rate. It's tingling like hell, too. I swear it looked worse before. Maybe it was the light? You You open and close your fist a few times, watching in fascination as your ligaments shift under the nasty gash. As you wash the blood near the gash staining your arm, something occurs to you. The scent is different compared to the blood from the nurse at the clinic. That was intoxicating. This is merely there. As you keep looking, it hits you. It was surely worse before. The wound, that is. How is it already feeling better? Even looking better. Your mind is cast back to Natasha, but all but screaming at you on the roof. Could this be... Are you... Your mind keeps rejecting it, but horrifying, unexplainable evidence is slowly leading toward an impossible conclusion. You recoil from the thought, yanking your sleeve down over the gash and staring straight forward into the night. Time to leave. You stare at your car's dashboard for a moment, watching the RPM gauge shudder lightly as it sits near idle. Nothing left to do. You drive off into the night, heading for Santa Monica Airport. A song ends as you wait for the light to go green, and Humble Harry's pathetic crooning curses the inside of your car once more.
Well, folks, it's getting to that time of the night.
Could it be? Is his shift ending? Please replace him with someone, anyone else. Just put ads on loop until the morning guy starts, please.
That's right, it's dead air time. The time when some stations shut down for an hour, but not us.
A pity. Actual silence might be better than this guy.
But no, for us, dead air means it's time to play the darker songs, the ones I'd get harassed for putting on the air if my boss wasn't fast asleep right now. Enjoy.
The light goes green. You head through the intersection. For a moment, you wonder if Humble Harry's about to pull on Bauhaus or maybe Typo Negative, but no. This is still a mainstream rock station. You chuckle to yourself as the Monster Mash starts playing. You shake your head. You are such a dick, Harry, you say, then pause a moment to process what just happened. I'm talking to myself, you admit out loud. Great. You soon reach the area around Santa Monica Airport, at least according to a large wooden, worn-looking sign. You pull over and drive to the south end of Santa Monica Municipal. At the southeast side of the roughly northeast-southwest running airport runs Airport Avenue, a slight two-lane road with small trees on each side, mostly there to provide access to various airport-related businesses. Signs dot the road as you head down it for aircraft service places, catering, and even a few seemingly unrelated car mechanic places. You're about to give up and just wander in, aimless, when you finally see an open gate. It leads up past some kind of aviation company in a freestanding metal building, but that's not what gets your attention. It's the noise. You pull up a little ways beyond the entrance, parking your car away from the streetlights, as is your habit. With the car off and your door open, it's more obvious now, the distinctive thrumming of dance music coming from through the gate somewhere. Wander up to the gate. Part 3. The Kill. You walk up to the cement incline, the thrumming of the bass increasing as you do so. As you reach the top, you see a flyer on the ground, a fairly new one. Actually, it's one of several. You pick it up. It reads, Fly Away November, Midweek Party. Woo! I do love to party in the middle of the week in November. You wonder if anyone actually thought that the title was funny or if they were just entirely out of ideas. Pausing at the top, you realize you're actually inside the airport proper. The lights of the runway are off in the distance, with taxiways to either side and a lot of noise and lights coming from the nearby hangar. You don't know much about airports, but I'm pretty sure that you needed some kind of security permission to be here, and that gate wasn't supposed to be open. I too enjoy trespassing on airports. My favorite Brian Eno album. Outside the warehouse proper, you see several dozen cars, mostly cheap and cheerful ones, parked in vague patterns. Groups of people stand about near them, some dancing on their own nearer the entrance, where this music is more audible, and others chatting or smoking various substances by vehicles. A door set in the near side of the hangar seems to have been turned into the rave's main entrance, with a line and several clusters of people near it. Do we approach the door immediately, or do we want to check out the people outside first?
Let's scope out the place first.
You wander through the forest of people smoking, chatting, or passing out on car bonnets, looking at faces and gates, hoping to catch a glimpse of Paige or anyone else you know. The double take you make when you see Caleb is, you suspect, almost comical. You know it's him before you even confirm it. A little taller than you and a veritable wall of muscle, with fading tattoos on his biceps, on a display despite the weather with his sleeveless jacket. He hovers around a panel van with its door open. Two younger girls stand near him. He glances around performatively as one of them hands him money. Let's not make a scene with Caleb here. If he's here, Paige is probably as well. Let's just find her on our own. Pause briefly between two cars, considering what you're wearing. It's probably not ideal for a room full of humidity and body sweat. Open the back door, remove your jacket, and toss it into the back seat. Leaves you with a makeshift crop top and torn jeans serving as shorts. Not exactly candy raver material, but it'll do. You shouldn't look or feel too out of place. It's as you're locking your car up again and jamming your keys into your pockets that it hits you. It's not the coldest LA night you've ever felt, but it's gotta be close. You can feel how cold it is. You felt it all night, but somehow, even without your jacket, it isn't bothering you. By rights, you should be desperately wishing you had full jeans on by now, but you don't. Head into the rave. You turn from the car when another wave of goddamn nausea slams into you hard. You keel over, grabbing the side of your car. Things haze over a bit, and images of the nurse's blood on your hands at the free clinic enter your mind and smear themselves in place there. Your mind brings back the sweet metallic smell. It's all you can think of, and you once again feel the intense hunger. You're unable to focus on anything else. Collapse to the ground near your car. Come on, you mutter to yourself as you utterly fail to restore yourself to a vertical pose. You slump further to the ground and stare at the stars, the cold cement beneath you barely even registering. Time passes. The hunger begins to subside a little, and your head stops swimming, and the vague sensation that your body's little animated meat settles in you. Still, you manage to get to your feet.
You okay?
A voice asks. You get to your feet, staggering slightly, and look toward the voice. A guy wearing neon colors with his hair dyed in dreads is looking at you. Red rope licorice held in one of his hands. Yeah, you say, stammering more than you like.
Are you sure?
He asks.
I can call someone if,
You shake your head, the fuzz clearing a little. I promise that I'm all right. Thank you for checking, though.
No problem.
He says, then heads off through the cars, taking a portion of his licorice as he does so. Shout out to random good guy licorice there. Finally feeling something like yourself, you decide you've wasted enough of dwindling sunless hours. Head toward the entrance, the density of people begins to increase until you're all but pushing through a few small crowds. Figures around you are mostly just stoned, high, drunk, or just happy. Possibly multiple combinations of those in some cases.
Hey, Lace.
A voice says, just a small, warm hand with pink nail polish plants itself on your left shoulder. You glance up in surprise, seeing a smiling face with dimples, freckles, pigtails, and a tight Supergirl crop top. Vanna. You haven't seen her in years, and she lost weight, but that's definitely Vanna. I guess we got... Vanna, you say, not having to try too hard to smile. It's been a while since you've seen her, and honestly, you kind of missed her, but even if you maybe didn't realize that you were still staring into her blue eyes.
How have you been? You stopped coming to these.
She says disapprovingly. That's true, except that you really only went to raves with and because of her, so... Honestly, you say, things are shit. Everything's all over the place, and I'm basically just here to find someone who can help.
Someone who can help?
She asks, confused. Like a specific person, you say.
Who are you after?
Her name is Paige. You prompt. Vanna furrows her brow.
I don't think I know her. What's she look like?
You pause for a moment, thinking of the simplest description. Thin, bit shorter than me, short, bleached blonde hair. She frowns.
Little yellow top, pink eyeshadow?
I don't know what she's wearing right now, you admit.
Some girl who was dealing with hair like that. I saw her pass out or something. Some girls took her to the bathroom.
She says. Shit, really? You say. And she nods. I'd better get inside and find her, you say.
Oh, sure.
She says.
I mean, it was nice seeing you again.
Hey, you too, you say, smiling politely as you make for the front entrance with haste.
Oh, wait.
Vanna says, grabbing you by the arm. Well, what's up? You ask. Saying nothing, she grabs your hand, brings it up to her mouth, and licks it slowly. Takes you a moment to realize what she's doing. She presses your wrist against hers, pushing hard for a moment, then pulling away. You glance down, seeing a smudged mirror of the entrance stamp on your wrist. You smile.
Act high and show him your smudged wrist, and they'll let you in.
She says. She did and said precisely this for you the first time you went out together. She winks, then walks away. You smile slightly. You don't miss raves, but you do kind of miss Vanna. Aw. MVP Vanna. You wander up to the large double door and sit inside of the aircraft hangar, staring around absently, trying to remember how you might have walked, looked, and thought while high on MDMA. Your bouncers stand by the door, looking only vaguely interested in what's going on around them. You suspect earlier in the night one of them would have dealt with new ravers, while the other checked the stamps of the people heading back into the noise. At this late point in the rave's lifespan, it's clear they don't really expect any newcomers. Even just near the door, the music is so loud the bouncers and the nearby stone-looking brunette are all but yelling to hear each other at all. You fall in behind two candy ravers and a guy wearing nothing but boxers and an oversized hoodie. The others present their outstretched wrists, and you do the same. The nearest bouncer glances down for mere moments before turning back to his comrade, and then you're inside. Thank you, Vanna, you mumble to yourself as you push into the sea of writhing bodies. Walking into a club, rave, or whatever else when you're by far the most sober person in a room is a very strange experience, especially when it's in such a strange, reused space as this. The ceilings of the ex-aircraft hangar are arched, enormous, and 1,000 drop lights are now home to meticulously placed and strangely painted mini disco balls. The strangest thing about being back at a rave for the first time in years isn't the gyrating bodies of the throng, or the scent or the inability to hear yourself think. It's knowing that, as packed as this place is now, the fact that there's space to walk through the dancers at all shows that it's beginning to wind down. Fortunately, you won't have to search the whole place for Paige. What you heard about her passing out and being taken to the women's room is true. Figures oscillate near you, past you, and behind you. A brunette in leggings and rainbow-studded bralette. Two guys wearing the trashy remains of business suits, the shirts long since discarded. A candy raver flailing about with two glow sticks that haven't actually been glowing for some time, you suspect. A girl with dreadlocks who's somehow working in some breakdancing moves to her twists. A dancing dude wearing a parachute jacket whose eyes stare off into space, seeing whatever you see after 6 hours on uppers. A guy with a fabric cap and wife beater, colored beads around his neck, spinning and whipping out as he does. And then you notice the scent. As you pass each person, a different fragrance assaults you. The nutty, salty sweat oozing from a guy who probably hasn't stopped moving in 6 hours. A girl in a sports crop and cutoffs who brushes by you, who smells sweet and bitter all at once. A guy with a mullet's more conservative cousin, shifting his hips to move the shirt that's now tied around his waist. He reeks of Gatorade and 3 hours stale sex. But whatever they smell of, whoever they are, the sounds vanish and you find yourself staring. Their necks, their arms, anywhere on their veins that throb invitingly.
Come on.
Says a girl near you.
Dance, babe.
Your eyes lock. She's dancing her way up to you. You try to dodge away, but a moment later she's pressed up against you, moving in an aggressively possessive way. You glance down, your eyes on every bit of exposed flesh. Even the absurdity of loud techno isn't stopping everything from dropping away as the girl dances. Then her finger touches you, runs against the side of your face. You grab her hand in yours. She doesn't notice. You're so tempted just to bring your fingers to your mouth. You feel a growing sharp pain in your upper jaw. What the fuck? No. You need to get away from her, away from everyone. The bathroom. You need to find Paige, and right now. You need to check the bathroom. Weaving past the girl who's desperately trying to get you to dance, you pick up a pace and head for the lit-up neon toilet sign off the one end of the hangar. You try not to focus on the bodies around you. You focus on the smoke near the ceiling, the laser lights crafting symbols and tiny images above the swaths of ravers. Finally, near the back of the space, you see a small group of girls milling about near a bathroom door. You all but barge it open, eliciting surprised stares from the girls waiting at the door.
Hey.
One girl yells as you pass by. You stop inside, staring. Bathroom walls are entirely covered with random graffiti and tags, from the filthy tiles near the floor level to the bare lights near the ceiling. Two girls are toward the back near the stalls, leaning over a fourth who lies slumped against the wall, holding her neck, blood seeping between her fingers. Shit! What the? You stammer. The door slams behind you. One of the girls looks up at you expectantly. None of them are Paige, which leaves you with an unpleasant feeling you already know just what might have happened here.
What's up, y'all?
Can I help? You ask, impressed with how eloquent you are. Should I get someone? One of the girls glances back at you.
Like who?
One of the security guys, or...
We already sent someone.
Another girl says as she inspects the wounded girl's neck.
One of them should be here soon. Just keep anyone else from barging in here. Wait.
Another girl asks, looking back at you.
Do you know first aid?
You do, but you stare down at the girls. Even from here, you can smell the blood. It's intense, fragrant, and Jesus, are you really feeling that way about blood? It's probably not good for us to be here.
Yeah.
You reach backwards, pushing the door open, backing out of the small bathroom. You need to get away from the blood before you do something that looks like it's probably already happened to the poor girl. Shit. Fuck, you say, slumping against the wall once you can no longer smell the fresh blood so clearly. You glance up at the ceiling, staring at the old railings and chains, which you presume had some sort of aircraft-related use back before this hangar got turned into whatever it is now.
Hey.
A girl near the door calls out to you, loud enough to be audible over the music.
You know what's going on in there? I gotta pee real bad.
You glance over. Several expectant faces glare at you through the laser lights and smoke. Did we just tell them the truth here?
I don't know.
Maybe one of them knows first aid? I don't know. Sure, fuck it. Some girl attacked another girl, you say, projecting as best you can manage that the loud noise track blends into another one. Bit her so hard that she's in there bleeding.
Jesus.
One of the girls in line says.
Is she okay?
I mean, there's the bleeding, you reply. So, no? The faces stare at you, some shocked and some just incredibly high. She's got people looking after her, though, you say, so that's good. Okay, time to find where the hell Paige went. Maybe the girl saw something. Ask if they saw a girl running out of the bathroom a few minutes before. Hey, did any of you see... You trail off as the music gets so loud you aren't sure anyone could hear you.
Huh?
One of them yells. You take a step or two closer to repeat yourself. Did you see a girl leave here in a hurry a little while ago? A blonde girl?
Bomb girl.
The figure closest to you calls out, confused. You're about to repeat yourself when the other girl there does the job for you.
Blonde.
She corrects loudly and into the closer girl's ear. Leaving fast, you repeat. First, all three of your heads are within inches of each other, just so you can hear, and holy hell, they smell good, sweat and all. Not in a sexual way, in a... Jesus, you feel hungry.
Oh, that way.
One finally says.
She ran out that way.
You glance around behind you. Behind a throng of ravers is a green exit light over a fire escape door. Thanks, you call out just in time to see a security guard heading your way across the dance floor. Head for the back door, pausing briefly to ensure he's heading for the bathroom and not for you. The door slightly ajar. Outside, the night air it's oddly silent. Not actually silent, of course. There's just some flimsy metal between you and one of the noisier raves you've ever been to, but after the past 10 or 15 minutes in there, this is completely peaceful. You're now standing in a wide tarmac between this tarmac apron, between this building and several hangars that are clearly still used as, well, actual hangars. Instead of the several dozen cars parked on the far side of the building, this site is home to the numerous light aircraft of the sort .com millionaires buy instead of Porsches these days. They sit lashed to the ground, condensation glistening on windows and wings alike. You're taking it all in and enjoying the relative silence when you hear the sound of a girl's raised voice, echoing in such a way that it's impossible to tell where it came from. You know the voice. It's Paige. It's hard to tell where the sound came from. Sound seems to echo eerily off the metal hangars that lie in front of you in a convex layout around parked planes. Pause briefly, moving your head from side to side and listening. And then you hear her voice again.
Take your fucking drugs.
It's hard to tell, but you think it came from the side of the warehouse you just came out of. Try not to make too much noise. You pace beside the side of the hangar. Get almost all the way to the end before you're once again hit by a wave of nausea. Put a hand out, grabbing and catching the wall just in time to stop yourself careening onto the cement below you. Once again, you feel intense waves of the strange hunger within you. In frustration, you mutter something with 4 letters under your breath. You hear another raised voice. This time it's Caleb.
What's your fucking excuse?
He's yelling. Get back to your feet. Push yourself off the wall and make it the rest of the way to the corner, glancing around it just as your vision, hazy from the nausea, begins to settle a little. Paige, dressed in the attire that's one step removed from being full candy raver, is slumped on the ground. Her back is crumpled against the side of the hangar wall while Caleb towers over there, legs apart slightly in a slightly aggressive posture.
I don't know.
Paige says, barely audible from this distance of a few dozen paces. I think what followed was a sob. Shit. Your fuckwit sense peaks. That's a hard word to say aloud. With his posture and clear anger issues, you're more than a bit concerned about Paige's safety, and yours if you were to intervene. But then, you also know that what you're seemingly capable of now. You've barely made 3 paces when Paige notices you, her eyes turning towards and blinking several times as you process of what she's seeing.
Lacey?
She stammers. Caleb's eyes flick to you and his posture instantly changes. He grabs Paige by the upper arm and drags her to her feet, making her visibly wince. You pause your approach as he does so. He stares at you.
Who the hell are you?
He calls out. Paige's eyes waver a little, but they hit yours and her face widens.
Lacey.
She mumbles, moving forward a little bit until Caleb tightens his grip on her arm and stops her in her tracks.
You gotta get out of here.
Caleb ignores Paige's warning to you and just stares. And what happened here? You ask, ignoring his question.
What business is it of yours?
Caleb says. You ignore him and look at Paige. I saw the girl in the bathroom. What did you do to her? You ask.
I'm sorry.
Paige murmurs, her eyes dropping from yours in shame. Gesundheit.
What she did,
Caleb says, pausing to spit grotesquely on the ground,
is fuck up so bad we may not be able to sell here anymore. A fuck up for which she's going to pay a penalty.
Thinking back to what you know you can do, you can only imagine what Paige can do. Why does she seem so broken, so exhausted?
We should threaten Caleb.
Yeah. You know, you say, I'm not what I seem. I already put at least one guy in the emergency room tonight, and it'd be a pleasure to do it to you, too. Paige looks up at you in surprise, trying to make out if you're lying or not. Caleb laughs.
Yeah, okay. You're what, 120 pounds soaking wet? I bench twice that when I'm not even trying.
It's just then, at the worst possible moment, you're hit once again with a wave of debilitating nausea. Do your best to try to keep it together, but to absolutely no avail. A moment later, you're on the ground as you cough and wheeze. Caleb laughs loudly.
Well, then, I guess that saves me the hassle of putting you down.
You continue coughing, the world spitting, until you once again find yourself coughing up blood.
Oh my god.
Paige says. Glance up at Paige. You look at her. She's slack-jawed.
I'm so sorry,
she says. She clearly just figured out what's happening to you. You collapse on the ground with A few stars you can see through the light pollution of West Los Angeles spinning around you. You hear Paige let out a muffled gasp of pain and the sound of the two of them heading off into the night. The several seconds pause is enough. You can't let him get away. Anyway, if you stay here, the sun will come up and you don't want to think about that. Groaning and coughing up a bit more blood, you stagger to your feet. The two figures are away from the thrumming rave now, not far from Caleb's van. You pick up the pace, swaying slightly as you run out into the collection of parked cars and past several laughing, drunken people who pay you little mind. You hear the van's engine starting and you suddenly rather gladly wish you'd not parked your car down the street. What's the play here?
Why not for the van?
You head straight for the van, surprised at how easily it seems to keep up this pace. The engine started and there's commotion inside the car, though you can't make out what Caleb and Paige are saying. You get closer, you see that Paige is in the back and screaming at Caleb, who's turned around in his seat to face her. His eyes flick away from Paige, meaning yours through the scuffled back window of the van. Running up to the back of the van, you ball your right hand into a fist and bring it down hard on the back window. You intended to... I'm not actually sure what you truly intended. To convince Caleb to stop, maybe? But it doesn't go that way. Surprised again at your own strength, your fist doesn't stop at the glass. Goes through, fragments of the glass exploding around you very loudly.
Fuck,
Caleb says and begins to drive off. As the van pulls away down the road, you get just a moment of your eyes meeting Paige as she stares back at you through the shattered window. She smiles slightly, a look of hope on her face. As the van heads off toward the street, you hear a voice behind you.
Yo, what the hell was that?
You turn around seeing a confused-looking guy who obviously just saw what happened. It's the 90s, we gotta quit. Just testing the structural integrity of this window, you shrug. Could use some work. The guy just sits there, blinking. You turn about and begin to run again, this time for your car. You almost slide as you run down the inclined drive away from the aerodrome, catching yourself just in time to stop from face-planting on the street below. You get to your car, you see the van screeching down the road, turning right at the first street after the airport. Unlocking your car as quickly as you can, you slide into the driver's seat and turn the engine over before shutting the door. The radio clicks on.
And what better time of night, or should I say morning, to begin to wind down? Something real chill for you all now from Humble Harry. It's Engelbert Humperdinck with Lesbian Seagull.
Oh, you have got to be shitting me, you say as you put the pedal to the metal and screech off down the street. You're all the way in third and need to downshift back to second to take the same turn the van took. As you correct back into your line, you see the van several blocks ahead of you and gaining. You pick up the pace as much as you can, your car clunking and rattling as you push it to its ill-advised limits. The van you observe is heading in precisely the right direction and be going back to Caleb's place, west. That's good to know, but you'd rather keep them on them rather than risk being wrong. After a block or two in the residential area around the airport, you finally feel like you're picking up the pace a bit. You're closing in on the van. Then it runs right through a yellow, at the intersection of Ocean Park and Boulevard, which turns to red the moment it passes. You grit your teeth. You know this intersection, you really, really feel like you don't have much of a choice here. Fuck it. Oh well, in for a goddamn penny, you mutter, and actually accelerate, hoping nobody in the crossing will have much speed by the time you're in the intersection. You're gritting your teeth and as you drive into it, glancing left and right as quickly as you dare. You see it right away, a white Toyota van sputtering into the intersection, heading right for you. You swerve slightly and it misses you by just inches, screeching to a halt in the intersection behind you, the driver screaming something out of the window as it disappears into your rear vision mirror. You laugh awkwardly to yourself. Oh my god, I'm going to die, you say, shaking your head. Then your face drops as the little sports car pulls out from a side street, driving surprisingly slowly and directly behind you and Caleb's van. Directly between.
All of these seem like...
All these seem terrible, right?
Yeah.
I say throw caution in the wind here.
Okay.
I do notice this game has a save function, so I'm going to drop a hot save right here. You grit your teeth once more and pull the wheel over, lining yourself up on the wrong side of the road. You whiz past the surprisingly safely driven sports car, leaving the driver honking his horn as you whip past him. You aren't sure if Caleb still knows you're behind him. Caleb still seems to be driving fairly purposefully, but without any sense of desperation. Just as you're trying to figure out what he realizes, he slows down. Not to stop, but definitely to a more reasonable residential area speed. Slowing down, you drop back a few car lengths and keep your distance, even shutting off your headlights as you follow him down a dark, quiet street you know quite well. Finally, the van pulls out in front of Caleb's rather distinctive house. Park a ways back and remove your car key from the ignition. You sit still for a moment, watching the easily recognizable silhouette of Caleb as he opens the sliding door before manhandling the slight, woozy-looking figure back and into the front door. With him gone, you get out of your car and head right for the front door, not even bothering to lock your car. You walk past a small army of creepy garden gnomes, from traditional gnomes to costume gnomes to gnomes missing heads. You have absolutely no idea why anyone in their right mind would voluntarily decorate their house in this manner. You suppress a shudder and walk up to the front door. You swallow hard, staring at it. Then you hear Caleb's voice. He's screaming again about something, yelling at Paige. Fuck it! You raise your right leg, pause a moment, then give the door what for. There's a loud crack as the door splinters around where your foot touches it, the door going from shut to wide open in an angry heartbeat. You step inside, your eyes adjusting fast enough to see Caleb spinning around, tossing Paige to her knees, and holding a pistol to the side of her head. He stares at you.
Where the fuck is all my gear?
He says, spit bursting in his mouth.
You two are fucking dead.
The three of you sit in silence. Paige looks up at you, her expression hard to read, but if you had to guess from her eyes alone, you guess that she's far from out of it as she seemed to be back at the rave.
We saw who came in. Or heard.
Yep. I know who took your drugs, you say. He narrows his eyes.
I bet you do.
No, really, you say. I came here looking for you before going to the rave. Saw a guy here creeping about.
Tall guy, skinny, Asian, go by the name of Lee.
Caleb asks, his gun slipping back a bit from Paige's head. Possibly, you say. I didn't get his name, but otherwise that might be right.
Fucking hell.
Caleb says, letting his gun drop entirely from Paige's head. His words, however, rapidly become a gurgle. In a single move, Paige reaches up, batting the gun from Caleb's hands, kicks the nearby wall, launching herself at Caleb, her bare teeth tearing at his throat. Blood sprays, and as Caleb sinks to the ground with Paige biting at his neck, his gurgle turns into a muted scream. You gasp a little, your jaw slackening a little as you realize you've involuntarily taken a step or two indoors. Paige looks up at you and smiles. You knew. On some very primal level, you knew that it would come to this, if not with Caleb, then with someone else. It had to come to this before. That this is what Paige did and what you now had to do. You've known since your first smell of blood at the free clinic. The smell is intoxicating. You know what you need to do. In fact, you have no choice in the matter. We have no choice. You slowly walk up to Caleb's shuddering unconscious form, stepping on, carrying into the blood pooling beneath him and sitting on the other side from Paige. She looks at you and smiles, a strange smile that's half sheepish and half proud. What do I do? You ask her. She opens her mouth slightly, gesturing to her now protruding canines.
They'll come out,
she says.
When you're close, when it's about to happen. It hurts, but in a good way.
You look down at the untouched flesh on the side of Caleb's neck.
But
Paige continues.
Not yet.
Not yet? You ask.
Not for another few days yet, so...
She shuffles over slightly, so she's hovering near your side of Caleb, an almost sexual expression on her face.
Let me help you,
she says, leaning down and tearing open the other side of his neck before returning to her previous posture. You stare at her, then at Caleb, the pulsing warm blood coming from the wound on your side of his neck. You lean down, at first just taking an exploratory lick at the warm blood in his neck. It's the strangest thing. You've known the taste of blood for years, even if it was only just when you accidentally bit your lip or something. The taste is still the same now, but the feeling. You gasp in pleasure and instantly begin sucking as hard as you can at the wound on his neck. You close your eyes, lapping, sucking, and drinking with unself-conscious abandon. When the blood slows, you begin to probe deeper, your tongue knifing into the wound, then flicking about under the folds of flesh to either side. And then finally, you open your eyes. Paige is staring at you, doing the same thing on the other side of Caleb's neck. You both smile at each other, then pull away, sitting to either side of Caleb's lifeless body. There's so many things you wanted to say to Paige when you saw her. So many questions, yet they all vanish in the warm haze you feel, the best high you have ever felt. There's a long empty pause before Paige finally breaks it.
So, about last night?
That was 2 nights ago, you correct.
Shit, really?
She says.
My sense of time is so fucked.
Some of your brain comes back in gear. Not all, but enough. Yeah, you say. I've been fucked since then. Feverish, bad dreams.
Throw up your own teeth,
she asks. You nod uncomfortably.
Well, at least they grow back.
She consoles.
And better.
You glance down at Caleb. Is he going to turn now? You ask.
No, he's dead as a Kennedy,
she says. Then, you say, what happened with me? You bit me and...
Excuse me?
She says.
I didn't bite you. I mean, I did a bit, but not like this kind of biting. I didn't need to feed that night. I wanted to fuck you, honey.
Then what happened? You ask.
You bit me,
she exclaims. I mean, you were biting my neck a bit and I...
Took me until today when I began to feel all hazy to figure it out. But you broke skin with that hickey. You drank my damn blood. It's why I lost control and...
She pauses, sighing.
And apparently that really fucking takes it out of you.
Oh shit, you say.
Yeah, oh shit,
she exclaims.
You bit me so hard Look, let's just say I had to sneak those blankets out and burn them afterwards. I just didn't realize you'd actually drawn blood from me until I saw you tonight. I'd spent the last 2 days feeling guilty. I'd just meant to fuck you, and I couldn't help but bite you when you made me lose control.
Why didn't you, warn me? Paige shakes her head.
Oh yeah, I bet you'd have loved hearing, hey, be careful if you were planning to drink my blood, because you may catch vampirism if you do.
So, you say, staring down at the cold, dead body of the psychotic drug dealer. This is us now? We have to do this now?
No,
She says.
I've never done this before.
Done what? Killed anyone? You ask.
Yeah,
She says.
I mean, you don't need much blood unless someone's been drinking yours anyway, so I haven't really done this before, not taken someone's life.
Except arguably me, you say. And she sighs. And Natasha? You ask. Paige sighs again.
You spoke to her? Is Nat okay?
She's alive and scared, you say.
Jesus.
She says.
I lost control the first time. Didn't know what was going on, and, best thing I could do was get the hell out of her life. I feel so bad about that, but I guess could have been much worse.
Paige glances down at the dead body sitting between you. You leave the silence between you a moment longer.
I was sure the other night at the party would be different.
Paige finally continues.
I'd fed earlier that night. I was comfortable. I thought I could just have a good time with you. Then you bit me and I lost it again.
You're not blaming me, are you?
God, no.
She says.
Fuck, I'm so sorry.
Tell you what, you say. I'd say that'll be the last time I give someone a hickey, but... Paige laughs a little.
Yeah, you may not have a choice in that one, Lace.
You glance around, flinching a little in surprise as you realize there's a cat staring at you. It sits to one side of the hallway, staring at you both, entirely unmoved by what just happened to its owner.
Jesus, even Mr. Twinkles hated him.
Paige says, noticing what you're staring at. So what now, you ask.
Well, what do you want to do?
She asks. You pause. Right now, honestly, you say.
Honestly, yes. What do you want to do?
You shake your head. You need to process this and figure out what it all means, what your life will be now, what it means to actually have killed someone. But until then... This, you say, and lean over the cooling corpse toward Paige. She smiles, meeting you halfway. Your cold, blood-stained lips meet hers. Hey! That was... I really liked that.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for the kinds of narrative that, like, oh, this
You're
takes...
what?
A sucker. I got him. I'm a sucker for these kinds that take place in like a very short time frame, but like everything just seems to go wrong one after the other, and then just. Also, it's narrative that couldn't have taken place like even a decade later. When you think about it, because even like in 2006, right, personal cell phones are almost ubiquitous.
Yeah.
I mean, they're admittedly the texting variety, like the flip phones, but still, like.
And everybody's on social media and shit.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like that one episode of Seinfeld where they spend the entire time trying to find each other across the city, and you're like, why don't they just text? Why don't they just text? Oh.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.